We're glad you joined us this week as we tackle a very steep Boondockers Welcome driveway that really puts our truck to the test.
The point is right now, getting up that hill right there. So I'm concerned because it's gravel and it's really steep.
As we finish with our time in Tennessee, Jeremy helps a friend change out one of his RV landing jacks. Another air compressor bites the dust. And we give the truck and RV a much needed bath after driving on dusty country roads.
So our host this week has got an issue with one of his landing gear feet, I guess what you call it. So it's on the driver's side over here all the way up front. And about every 3 or 4 days he's got to re-level because this one keeps basically lowering down on this side, or it's losing hydraulic pressure somehow, and that foot is kind of raising up a little bit, which lowers down the front end of the RV. So he bought a new one of those. We're going to replace that today. It looks pretty simple. Now granted, this isn't on our rig, but I figured, you know, if I'm going to help out here, I might as well record it. There may be some of you out there who find yourself in this same situation. He's pretty much tried everything so far to isolate the issue on this, and he hasn't been able to find anything. So we think that there may be something going on internally on this leg over here. So we're just going to replace the whole thing. So this looks like it's going to be fairly simple. There are 3 hydraulic lines coming in up here, and then there's an electrical connection over here. And I think all it really requires is to take all of those connections off of there. And then down at the bottom, we've got 6 3/4 inch head bolts that we'll have to take off there. Obviously, we've got to get hitched up, put the weight of this rig on his truck first, but we think it's just going to be that simple. But we are winging it just a little bit here.
Good thing I got my good shirt on, huh?
Yeah, there you go. There you go. That's a simple job. It took us 20 minutes maybe to get all of that done. Would have taken less time had we had the right tools on the site. But the next step here, everything's connected. We got everything tight, and we're just going to slowly kind of cycle that landing gear, that specific one. I guess you probably got to operate them in pairs here on this rig, but we're just going to cycle it, make sure nothing leaks. We don't get any leaks, and we're going to take it off of the truck, and hopefully nothing goes wrong. Well, I haven't done anything yet. But...
Hey, it's moving down. That's a good step in the right direction.
Yep. I don't see anything leaking. All right, so our real only measure of success here was if the RV didn't fall on the ground. You can see in the back here, it did not fall on the ground. So we were successful, but in all seriousness, this was a really easy repair to do. it was 6 bolts holding that leg on there, and it was 3 connections holding the hydraulic lines on, and then the electrical connection, and that was it. Super easy. Again, it wasn't my rig, but it was interesting to learn that, and I wanted to share it with you guys because I got to imagine there are people out there that have this same problem where these landing gear leak by somewhere, you can't figure it out. You've done everything you can. Now that part wasn't cheap. How much was it?
It was over 700.
Yeah, it was about 700 bucks, 700 to 800 bucks, but easy fix, guys. So I got to admit that Craftsman battery powered air compressor that I bought didn't work out. I had to send it back. The first time I used it, it blew some kind of a gasket or a seal, and it just would not air up anything. So I forgot that I had this one. This is a little trigger style, kind of like holding a drill. We got it at one of the rallies that we went to. It's made by Vector. Never really heard of them. I tested this a few days ago on my buddy's side-by-side, and it worked just fine. But I'm kind of curious to see how it's going to work on the RV. So if it works, I may just stick with this one instead of buying a new Craftsman. We'll see how this works. It's supposed to go up to about 120 pounds, which is right at what I fill these tires up to. The max inflation pressure, cold inflation pressure on these is 123, but we're not maxed out on our axles back here. We're right at about the weight where I need about 120 pounds in here. So if we can actually get these tires up to 120 pounds with this thing, I think I'll just stick with it. You can charge this thing via this AC adapter here. It comes with its own USB cord. And then it also has this cigarette lighter adapter so you can charge it going down the road if you want to. So anyway, I've got this thing fully charged up and we'll see how it works. And the operation is pretty simple. You just simply turn it on, and then you use the plus or minus buttons to set your pressure that you want. So I'm going to set this one right at 120 pounds. Not sure if you'll be able to see that, but got it set it right at 120 pounds. And one thing I really like is this is you actually have to screw this on instead of, just the type where you have to push it and hold it in there. The first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to check the pressure with my pressure gauge here. This is just a little slime sport gauge that I think I bought on Amazon. I don't remember the price. It works out pretty well for me. It's very handy. It's very light, compact, and small to stow. So I'll put the link for it down in the description area, but I really like this this pressure gauge here. All right, so this is saying about 116 pounds. So we got about 4 pounds to go. We'll see what this thing reads when I get it put on. All right, so the first thing I could see here is this thing's only reading about 100 pounds. I don't know what's going on with that, but let's see what happens here. All right, I ran that thing for about a minute, and I just want to take this off to see where we're at, kind of get a feel for how quickly or slowly this thing's airing up my tire here. So this thing's reading about 116.5 now, so about a minute, I got about a half a pound, so I got a ways to go here. There we go, 120 pounds. That took probably about 5 minutes worth of air in there to go up that 4 pounds. So that wasn't actually too bad, better than what I expected. Well, I don't know. That one just seemed like it popped a relief or a gasket or something as well. So I don't know what's going on with these air compressors, but I'm only trying to air these things up to 120 pounds, which is within the capability of that air compressor. The other thing I noticed is that it got super hot. So sitting there holding that trigger for a while really becomes uncomfortable. At any rate, I don't think that's going to work out for us. So I guess I'm going to have to break out the Vire. Well, I got to be honest with you. I think my quest for a new air compressor may be over. I've had 2 of the portable battery-powered ones, and neither one of them have worked out. This Fire actually works really well. The only thing I don't like about it is I have to pull the truck up there, got to raise the hood, connect up to the battery and everything. It airs the tires up fairly quickly, and it's super quiet when it's running. So on those days when you want to get underway really early in the morning, or get out there and get your tires done really early in the morning, you don't have to be bothering all your neighbor with this loud compressor. So anyway, I think my search for a new compressor is over, and we're just going to stick with this Fire. The last thing I wanted to test this morning before we get underway is this impact driver that I got. Again, it's a Craftsman. As I've said in the past, I don't really have a brand preference. It's just that I started buying some of these Craftsman things because they were good deals, and I've already got the batteries and the chargers, so now it's just easy to stick with the Craftsman. This one is supposed to be 350 foot-pounds worth of torque, and I just want to make sure that it's going to take these lug nuts off. I don't have any reason to believe that it won't, but I just wanted to test it before we hit the road, because the only other thing I have is my T-handle wrench, which can sometimes be a real pain in the neck. So I'm just going to give this a try. I'm just going to loosen one of these up, and then we'll get the torque wrench out and tighten it right back down. All right, there we go. So it took a couple of tries on that, but it came right off. So I'm just going to tighten it right back up. So technically you're supposed to do these in increments, and those increments for these wheels are going to be about 30 pounds, I think about 60 pounds, and then up to 120. So that's why I'm doing this in increments. That's what the manual says to do, so that's what we're going to do. And then of course, while I'm here, just going to check the torque on all of them. Yeah, I'll be honest with you, I don't check those every underway. I'll check them every few underways, but I found that it's really not needed much more than that. So I would say every 3 or 4 underways, I will give those things a little torque check to make sure everything's snugged up nice and tight. All right, the last thing I'll say on these tires is, the last thing I do is I just want to check the TPMS system to make sure that it's reading correctly. Not sure if that's going to show, but I got about 121 pounds on all the tires. And wanted to kind of give an update on this tire minder because it's been a while since we installed this. It's been working pretty good. We haven't had any issues with it. Well, I take that back. We had one small issue where one of the positions on the control unit here wouldn't update. So it would initially synchronize with all 4 tires, and then basically one of the positions on this wouldn't update. And so I don't know why that is. It seems kind of odd to me that it's just on the head unit itself. So what we did was we changed the position on the head unit of that one specific wheel. Other than that, we haven't had any problems with this tire minder. We really like it, and I'm not afraid of running out of positions on this thing because it can monitor up to like 20 tires. So being down on one position there just really isn't a big deal. So anyway, tire minder, we really like it. If you're looking for a nice TPMS system, it is one of the good brands, and it's significantly cheaper than, say, the TST system. I think the TST system was going to be like another $100-$150. So if you're looking for a good brand at not that super expensive price, then I don't think you can beat the tire minder. The one that we had previously was the Timate, and we really actually liked that one because the head unit was solar power, so you could just set it on the dashboard and you never had to plug it in. The problem with the Timate was they didn't make one that would go up to the 120 pounds that we need for the cold inflation pressure, that had the distance to reach from the wheels of our rig up to the head unit in the truck. So I think the maximum that they had that went up to the pressure I need was for like a 36-foot rig, something like that. So we ended up having to get a different one. So we went with a tire minder. Again, really good product. Recommend it. I'll leave the link in the description below. pretty much the last thing we do every time we get underway is, because we put that new door lock on there, it's got this little knob right here that sticks out just a little bit, and it bangs against the door, or it bangs against the wall of the rig when the door is fully open. So the last thing we do is we take this little bolt that's our makeshift door stopper, sticks to this magnet right down here, and that prevents us from banging up the side of the rig. So there you go. You ready to leave, bud? Next stop? Huh?
On the road again. I just can't
Every
wait
time,
to
huh,
be on the
Wicket?
road again. All right, so our time here in Tennessee is up, and we are headed to Kentucky for a night. We're going to go to a Harvest Toast. Then we are going to head into Ohio, spend 2 nights at a state park, and then we're on to the Campaholics meetup, and then the National
Rally. That's right. So I'm really hot. Can't wait to get in the AC. Look at
Yeah.
your dog. He's already over there. He's like, I'm getting in the
Yeah.
shade. So,
Yeah.
hey, buddy, you ready to go? You know what I'm voting for today? A nice, clean underway day with no problems.
Jesus.
Well, if you did everything correctly. We stayed at a really nice Harvest Host last night. Very peaceful.
Very peaceful.
Really nice people. But that's not the point. The point is right now, getting up that hill right there. So I'm concerned because it's gravel and it's really steep, and maybe a better angle from over here, but that's a pretty steep hill. So, you know, sometimes we content creators get a little bit over dramatic because, you know, it makes things interesting. But I'm legitimately nervous about this. So
Yeah, it was, it wasn't scary coming down the hill yesterday, but it was definitely like,
that's steep.
I was on the edge of my seat,
Yeah.
you know.
So I think the plan here is we're in 4-low, and I think we're just going to try and build up a little speed before we hit that hill, and then we're not going to let off of it until we get clear of that hill. I think the backup plan is if we start spinning out, if we get stuck halfway up, we're going to reach down, grab the manual brake controller, get the brakes on the trailer, get the brakes on the truck 100%, and then we'll have to figure it out from there. But I'm legitimately a little bit nervous about this, starting to wonder if maybe we shouldn't have gone somewhere else. But I don't know. We'll see what happens, and you're going to see it too.
Yeah, and luckily, if something does happen, that hill is like a straight
Yeah.
shot. So if Jeremy has to back up, he doesn't have to deal with any sort of like curve.
No, I just got to deal with, 18,000 pounds behind me of dragging me down the hill.
That's nothing.
Yeah. So we'll see. All right.
Suck it up, Buttercup.
Wish us luck, guys.
All right, I'm getting my morning exercise here. Jeremy's gonna have me walk up to the top of the hill and film from up above, because like he said, if something goes haywire, I can't do anything from inside the truck. So, we're about at the moment of truth. Let's see what happens.
better. I'm not gonna lie, guys, I was nervous about that. I was super nervous about that, and I guess that's just a testament to how good these trucks are, that I didn't have any problems coming up there. Again, 4 low, I was on the gas, and it just came right up. I am really surprised at how easy that was. All right, so we're here with Ed and Casey. They're the owners of the Boondockers Welcome, or is it a Harvest? It's a Boondockers Welcome.
Boondockers Welcome.
That we just stayed at and went up their big old hill here. If you're ever in the area of Pig, Kentucky,
Yep. Mammoth Cave National Park.
you can check these guys out. The name of their Boondockers Welcome is True North Farms. And we had a good time here. We only stayed one night, but it was super quiet back there. You could have heard a pin drop outside, I think, last night.
Yeah. And
So-
we're as big as you get, so if we can get in there and park comfortably, you can get in there.
Yeah, and the hill is, like I said before, it was actually a lot easier to get up than I thought it was going to be. So if we can get up that hill, you can get up that hill as long as you got the right truck. So anyway, Pig, Kentucky, True North Farms, Boondockers Welcome. Check it out if you're in the area. We're gonna run her through one of the Blue Beacon truck washes today. We are filthy. We spent 2 weeks right off of a dirt road. So we're pretty nasty, and we're gonna get unnasty here. All right, and just like that, you come out of the magical washing machine and everything's clean again. Or it's pretty clean. We were so dirty that I would rather them get it most of the way clean, and then I can finish it up when we pull in somewhere. But they always do a pretty good job here at these Blue Beacons. They're not cheap. They're probably 60 to 70 bucks every time we come here, but it's worth it.
Join us next week as we explore one of our favorite state parks, finally get an accessory that's essential for all RVers, and meet up with old and new friends at the 2nd annual Campaholics Campout.